October 14th 21st Hamlet by John Austen, and there assume some other horrible form, which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? William Shakespeare, Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 4, Eclipse season. Hold on to your hats and your garter belts, everyone. We are well nigh approaching eclipse season, with a partial solar eclipse on October 25th at 2 degrees Scorpio, and a total lunar eclipse on November 8th at 16 degrees of Taurus. We should already be. That lunar eclipse needs some special attention. Right in the crosshairs of the Saturn/Uranus square, the tension has been building up for a few years now. If we identify with Uranus and the need for freedom and growth, Saturn will feel oppressive and limiting, and we will do all we can to rebel against those things that appear to be limiting and confining us. This is the conflict between the old and the new, between what we know and are familiar with versus that which we don't know and feels destabilizing. This is the choice between staying with what we have versus taking a chance by venturing out into a whole new direction. If there is too much Saturn energy, we will feel stuck and unable to escape from our current obligations, laws, responsibilities, or expectations. The lunar eclipse in November is bringing these all to some sort of critical point where they cannot and will not be ignored anymore. Eclipses are not just strong new and full moons. The eclipses each year are indicative of turning points in society as well as in our own personal lives, especially if they fall in sensitive areas of our charts. With the really powerful ones, we will notice their influence weeks in advance, and feel their ramifications for months, and sometimes years after. What the lunar eclipse is trying to show us is that some sort of change is necessary. What we are asking as a society to release are the dreadful wounds that result from things like war and the ramifications of war. The wounds resulting from poverty and starvation, the indignities of racism, homophobia, sexism, betrayal, abandonment, and their godchildren guilt and shame. And we do this by paying attention to the divine cycle of reciprocity. A new Venus cycle. Taurus is also a Venus sign. And on October 22nd, we begin a new Venus cycle with the conjunction of the Sun and Venus at 29 degrees of Libra. Venus follows these 8-year patterns, where the conjunctions of Venus fall in the same sign, while gradually moving back through the degrees of the sign each time it returns. It begins at the end of the sign, at the 29th degree, and gradually over the decades arrives at the very first degree of the sign. They rotate these conjunctions between 5 different signs. One of these was through the sign of Scorpio. The above image represents the Venus cycle in its orbit. And occasionally after 100 years or so, as it is doing now, it moves back into the previous sign. And for the first time since the late 1700s, we are now beginning a new Venus cycle in its own sign of Libra. This in turn will also have its own influence on society. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.